Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the more I pay attention to the things of God, the more I realize there just ain't any coinky-dinks in life. And for those of you that don't speak South Texas Bohemian, that's coincidences. God don't get through hell, Cozian, am I right? You know, with God, nothing is wasted. You know, in Romans 8:28, St. Paul says that God works all things together for those who love Him and stay called according to His purpose. And, you know, He has a plan for every one of you. You know, being here tonight tells me you have a heart to serve Him and the warriors that He loves. So let's go back to Warriors Weekend 4, 2010. Several of the banners we unveiled that evening, or this evening, were on display down at the tent in Port O'Connor during Warriors Weekend. You know, I was standing alone in front of them on Friday afternoon when one of the Warriors Weekend volunteers came up to me and said, "Colonel Mike, there's a soldier who asked if he could speak with you for a minute." And of course I said, "Well, that's why I'm here." So I walked toward the soldier, who was slightly stooped over with his walking cane, and when I looked in his eyes, I knew he was hurting. You know, healing, not healed, not just physical pain, but an emotional pain. And that's when he introduced himself as Sergeant Brandon Lloyd, U.S. Army medic, wounded in action. Then we had a conversation that would influence how I see myself as a Warriors Weekend volunteer and actually follower of the Lord Jesus Christ forever. He pointed to one of the banners and said, "Sir, that banner right there." I said, "Yes, Sergeant, that's Specialist Richard Ariage. He's from my hometown of Ganeo." He said, "Yes, sir. I was the medic who worked on him when he was killed in action in Iraq. I never got to see him smile like that." Wow. So I asked him to sit tight as I went to look for Ron and Sherry, Sherry Lee, because at that time I hadn't been introduced to the Ariaga family yet. You know, I know he was nervous about meeting them, but God had a plan for that wounded medic and a grieving family. Nobody except God could have predicted how the love between Brandon and the Ariaga family would have grown deeper over the years, and it was God using Warriors Weekend to bring about healing for them all. Ron, I told you, you started something even you couldn't predict the impact Warriors Weekend would have on the wounded heroes, their families, and even we who served them as volunteers. But thank God you followed God's leading in your heart to start this great ministry. Who? Yeah, go ahead. Ron deserves a little credit here for starting this thing up. You know, I wanted you all to know that our guest speaker is a soldier's soldier. So I'm going to take just a minute to read to you some of what was on USArmyRegistry.org. Sergeant First Class Lloyd began his Army career in 1998 and served as a scout sniper before he re-enlisted, trained for, and became a special ops combat medic with the 101st Airborne and SOCOM. Special Ops Command. This soldier was an integral part of the Spec Ops task force that conducted Operation Red Dawn and captured Saddam Hussein. Now, if you don't believe me, I've seen young Brandon with a shit-eating grin on his face sitting next to... Wait, did I say that? Okay, all right. He had a grin on his face sitting next to the heavily bearded, long-haired, very despondent former dictator. Sergeant First Class Lloyd is the recipient of the Legion of Merit. 3 Bronze Star medals, 1 with a V device for valor in combat. The Purple Heart, 2 Meritorious Service medals, 4 Army Commendation medals, 1 with V device for valor in combat. And I could go on. He is also the recipient, this is huge, of the Alabama Legislature Medal of Honor for his valiant actions in combat during the taking of Baghdad. There's a whole bunch more, but you get the picture. But there's also so much more to this man that you can imagine or appreciate. He's not just a soldier. He's a fighter, and he's an overcomer. He's a servant leader who trained himself and his soldiers to be the best of the best. He's still serving his fellow veterans, and he has a heart for the next generation of Americans that he's guiding toward being patriots. In the 12 years since we've met, I've grown to love Brandon as a brother from a different mother. In fact, I've grown so fond of Brandon that I've nicknamed him my Alabama Hanyak. And that is high praise. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a Texas Golden Crescent welcome to a soldier's soldier, a servant leader, a real-life American hero, Sergeant First Class Brandon Lloyd.
Thank you, Colonel Mike. Thank you, Brian, Coach, and Warriors Weekend for inviting me. This is a little emotional for me to get through. I think every time I think I have gotten through it to where I don't shed tears, it happens. That lets me know that I need to keep telling it. I also want to welcome all the Gold Star families. You've got a special place in my heart, and I'm humbled and honored to be here with you. We've all heard phrases like everything happens for a reason, or what goes around comes around. We use them to give us hope in troubled times. There's an Arabic one I like. Now, don't laugh when I try to say this. Kham min siya. It means a good from a bad. I'm going to tell you a story on how my first trip to Warriors Weekend would set the stage for events to play out, where those common phrases would become a reality and change the lives of an entire family and actually saving my own life. This story begins almost 19 years ago. It was the 18th of September in 2003. Just before 8 p.m. in Tikrit, Iraq, the evening Isha prayer is being blasted extremely loud through the streets by these large crackling speakers hanging from the post. Just after the last word of the prayer is uttered, our Humvee pulled up to the rear of a house surrounded by a stone wall. At the same moment, two Toyota Hilux trucks stopped in front. A team of the operators quickly dismounted and breached the metal gate. Before entering the target location, we would end up questioning and clearing the men at that location. And after an hour or so, we loaded the trucks to head back to our small little operating base on the other side of Tikrit. That was just another day in Iraq for the hunt for Saddam, for my dudes and I. But I was standing facing forward behind a 50 cal in the back of a command Humvee, which is, it's got 4 seats in it and it's a small bed. We were facing east as we climbed up on this asphalt road off the dirt to make a U-turn and head back west across the Tigris River Bridge. It was just after midnight, but the temperatures were still right around 100 degrees. The moonless night was pitch black, and the complete darkness felt heavy, claustrophobic. But in an instant, that dark sky would light up in front of us. 4 explosions, about a second apart, painted the horizon a hot orange as bright red and bright green tracer rounds buried through the sky. It was clear that a unit down the road from us was under attack, and without a word, our trucks began heading to their location, and within minutes we were there. A 3-vehicle convoy had been caught in an L-shaped ambush at a traffic circle. The insurgents were hiding in a roadside trench just a few feet away from where the vehicles were stopping before they turned right. They initiated contact of the ambush with the RPGs and small arms fire on the last truck as it got to the circle. It was a horrific scene. I quickly got to the rear vehicle, which had taken the worst of the attack, and started assessing and triaging the casualties. Upon reaching into the vehicle, I noticed that one soldier's left arm was resting on the shaft and the stabilizer pins of a PG-7 RPG round that had entered his armpit, leaving the undetonated warhead lodged into his chest. As the only medic, the worst case scenario was now my reality. There were 12 severely wounded casualties, a live bomb, and I only had a limited amount of medical gear. But relying on my instincts and training, I got all the wounded stabilized and loaded up, and we got them to the battalion aid station where I would assist the medics that were there with their further treatment. Unfortunately, the 3 soldiers in that rear truck we lost that night. But when all the medical work was done, we started preparing the fallen heroes for transport. I knelt down by the litter at the head of the driver of that rear truck to clean and bandage all the wounds, and the other medics would work on the truck commander and the gunner of that vehicle. I began collecting his personal items and removed his wedding ring and a plastic bag from his pocket. As I reached to drop the items that I pulled out in a bag where his armor was, a picture inside a dirty Ziploc bag caught my attention. It was a newborn baby girl. And on the back of this picture was written, Bianca Mia, August 19, 2003, which was 1 month before that night. I knew this young man had been taken from his wife, but now I realized he had a 1-month-old baby that'll grow up never knowing her daddy. This left me with an overwhelming feeling that I needed to stay right next to this kid. So I ran in, I changed my blood soaked uniform, but had to remain in my boots that were covered in the blood of these heroes. I walked back in the room as they were draping the 3 warriors with American flags and moving them outside under a camo net. And I found and told the first sergeant I needed to be the one standing guard. Typically, that's not something that a roster I'd be put on. But I spent the next several hours in pure darkness and still silence, talking to those 3 warriors, hoping in some way that this would bring the 4 of us a little comfort. At one point, some photographers would use the sandbag wall as cover to sneak up behind me, and all at once they popped up and began snapping photos. After the night's earlier events, I thought the flash was an explosion, and I got enraged when I figured out it was cameras. I was further angered because I knew that they only wanted pictures showing American dead. The truth was, I thought a picture showing a soldier standing guard over the fallen needed to be seen. Very few people know that from the moment a soldier's hit until the time that they're laid to rest back at home, they're never left alone. A British photojournalist took care of those guys for me, and we ended up coming back and taking some very moving photos of me standing guard. I had turned around and faced forward, and now the casualties were to my back, and the blood on my boots was visible in this picture. He was so touched by the photos that the next day he gave me the flash drive instead of selling them. The overwhelming and confusing mix of emotions that flooded over me in the previous 12 hours was a mystery. But I fought through them and pushed forward. That night and those emotions quickly faded, and it takes 7.5 years before they reappeared. Many things would happen in my life over those 7.5 years. 3 years were spent in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was severely wounded once in each country. I ended up with damage that would have me in and out of hospitals for 18 months. I had 6 spinal surgeries. I spent months in the hospital dealing with a brain injury and many other operations and procedures. That's what got me assigned to the Wounded Warrior Unit at Fort Campbell. While I was there, a buddy invited me to a Warriors Weekend fishing trip. I had absolutely no desire to put myself in a situation like that, just because the way he explained it and all the people. I appreciated it, but I just didn't think I was ready. About a week of saying no, I finally said yes. The fishing got to me, and I didn't want to come fishing, so I said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and suck it up. Words can't describe the feelings I had when I saw the massive crowds that lined the walls of the Houston airport to greet us. We got on the road with an unbelievable armada of police vehicles, countless motorcycles escorting our buses. I watched them strategically leapfrog to block the highway on-ramps and other entry points all the way to Victoria. We unloaded at the Field of Honor for our official welcome and sat in seats facing the huge field full of flags. I was trying to process what I was experiencing and having absolutely no idea what was about to happen. Colonel Mike began the final roll call where he called the names of troops from the area who were killed in action. My mind was scattered and unfocused, still trying to grasp what was going on around me. And then I heard Colonel Mike say, Arriaga. This sent a chill through me instantly, as I'd not heard that name in so many years. I knew it wasn't possible for that to be my Arriaga, but I did let myself appreciate that moment and the fact that I had held his memory so close to me without even knowing it for so long. So after this, we loaded up and we headed to Fort O'Connor. Less than 5 minutes after arriving, I walked in this massive tent and come face to face with this huge banner with a picture of my Richard Arriaga. He was staring back at me with a smile on his face that I've never seen. I stood motionless and in a stunned silence. I couldn't grasp that just by some random chance, I'm in the exact place at the exact time with an organization who's honoring a soldier that I lost on a battlefield thousands of miles away, almost 8 years earlier. I found Ron and Colonel Mike, and I told them what was going on as I was still trying to process it myself. Well, later that night, I managed to meet Richard's aunt and uncle. I told them who I was, which was difficult to do. We shared many tears. They said that they had come in the place of Richard's mom, Barbara, because losing him was still hard on her. It had only been a few years at that point. They said me being there may be the push that she needed to finally attend the events the following night. I spent the next 24 hours torturing myself on how I was going to face a mother who knows I'm the medic that tried but failed to save her son.
You got it, Sarge.
Barbara came to that event and we met. We shared one of the sweetest and most emotional moments of my life. She handled the entire situation with a type of grace that I could never match. After a long tear-filled embrace, she said, I have someone I want you to meet. Just then, a 7-year-old girl
You got it,
I
Sarge.
told you this was going to happen. A 7-year-old girl came and stood beside her. I couldn't speak because I knew immediately this was the same beautiful girl, Bianca Mia, whose picture had caught my eye through a dirty Ziploc bag and crushed my heart more than 7 years prior. That night, while reflecting on all this, I remembered that the day before that I'd left for Texas, I changed my Facebook profile picture to one that I shared for the first time because Memorial Day was the following week. So throughout that whole weekend journey, I met the family of Richard Arriaga, a picture of me in bloody boots standing guard over 3 fallen warriors draped with American flags was there for the world to see. What I've learned from all those events and from being a part of Warriors Weekend is that to really be happy and to thrive in life, We have got to make peace and be okay with all the bad things that we've been through.
Yes, sir.
We don't have to like them, but we have to be okay with the fact that they happened and we got through it. Because those bad things influence the direction of our path just as much as the good things do. Those bad things we go through are also what give us the ability to notice and appreciate the good things in our lives. Not everyone who comes to Warriors Weekend will have a story like this. But what every warrior will get is an opportunity to relax and interact with people who care about them and want them to know that their sacrifices are respected and appreciated.
That's right.
These small gestures can have the biggest impact on a veteran's ability to heal. Since September 11th, there's been 7,100 service members have been killed in combat operations, but over 31,000 have committed suicide. This is unbelievably sad, but it's also preventable. We can't help the problem by complaining about the federal government or blaming it all on the VA. It takes action at community level, which is what I'm standing up here looking at right now. It takes personal interaction and conversation like those that happened at a Warriors Weekend event. They've hosted over 9,000 heroes since 2007. That means 9,000 combat veterans have had the opportunity to experience some of the awesome healing effects that can only be created by Warriors Weekend and all the folks that volunteered. Thank you, Ron Koshin, for what you created here. To grow and to heal, we have to have the ability to hold two contradictory truths in our minds simultaneously. That's hope and despair. We have to realize that a life without despair is also a life without hope. Now I want to introduce you to somebody who traveled here with me. It's my friend Dr. Dan Hernandez. He's a veterinarian in Mobile, Alabama, where I'm from. He's a huge supporter of all things veteran and has been an unbelievable friend to me over the last couple of years. He listened to I have a book coming out and started doing some podcast interviews, and he had listened to a podcast episode I did a while back, and it was the first one where I shared this story kind of just in its entirety. He called me and told me that he was moved by it and he had something he wanted me to see. But this knucklehead had written the most beautiful poem I had ever read in my life. It took me years to finally get to where I could tell this story. He does it in 5 minutes, and it's amazing. Here's my friend, Dr. Dan Hernandez. He's going to read the poem With Blood on His Boots.
Let's see if I can get through this. With blood on his boots. With blood on his boots, he stands as sentry. Those he guards unaware. 3 flags, 4 men, 4 heroes. With blood on his boots, he stands ready. They will not be alone tonight. A conversation held between brothers, one final time. With blood on his boots, he stands watching. Images, smells, and sounds of battle fresh in his mind, cleared to do his duty for them one last time. With blood on his boots, he looks forward, knowing the sacrifice behind, promises made, promises kept, hearts broken. With blood on his boots, he stands vigilant. Those behind him gave their all till the end. He does the same, but tonight is not his night. With blood on his boots, he will not waver, for they did not waver facing their enemies, nor did he as he fought to keep them alive. With blood on his boots, he stands knowing who was left behind. Will she know of his bravery and his effect on my life? With blood on his boots, he sees flashes. Are these explosions? Has my time come? No. It is the flash of cameras, vultures preying and profiting from our loss. With blood on his boots, he is hopeful. So few know our story, the value of our lives. A respectful insight to valor, seen on this night. With blood on his boots, he sees a stranger. His presence demands respect, so the vultures fly. Respectful shots taken, only to be returned in the twilight. With blood on his boots, he stands down, for now he is alone. 3 flags, 3 men sent home. With blood on his boots, he showed honor. To him, it was duty. To the families, it would mean everything. Trapped within his thoughts, years passed him by, but little did he know, healing started with blood on his boots.
The next year when Brandon came back for his weekend in Port Connor, he wanted to present something to Barbara. Right, Barbara? And it's in this really nice velvet box. And it was his Bronze Star with V for Valor. And he gave it to Barbara in honor of Richard Arriaga. He gave Sherry the proclamation to read. I said, she'll never make it. Neither did I. And when it was over, I asked him, I said, Brandon, why did you do that? He said, Ron, it didn't have any meaning to me until I gave it to her. Now it has meaning. And if you haven't seen that iconic picture of Brandon standing watch over his 3 fallen comrades, it's on Facebook. You can look at Brandon Lloyd on Facebook. But we've gone a little further, Brendan. A couple of years ago, y'all will remember, Clement Checks and everybody. Shears, certainly. We had a young lady up here doing a painting from scratch. She was very, very good. She was wonderful. We stuck Clement Check with a bunch of money that night on the painting. And she's kind of cute. That didn't hurt anybody. It didn't hurt. So we commissioned her to repaint that picture. Brandon, this is for you, buddy. Thank y'all for being so attentive tonight. Y'all were great. Not easy to get a crowd like this so attentive, but you see why, and why we do what we do. And now it's time to get to the meat of it. Give me some money.
How do you go after that? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do what we can. Our spotters, Billy Bauer, Rusty, Nezzy, Ronnie Tessett. Who else forgot? Oh, Monroe came in. Keith Madden, Mike Ham back in the corner, and him and Tony Joseph are going to be. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, if you would, get their attention, my attention, but hold your paddle up so we can see it. And I guarantee you, if you're going to fan yourself, you're going to buy something. You bet you. All right, you get their attention, my attention, and we want to get your name, or however you want it, your company name, your ranch name, whatever, as quick as we can, and we'll move on. We have a little over 80, 90, yeah, me and Billy are taking bets on how many we have. But that's wrong. So that's okay. We're here to do what we can. So open up your hearts and your pocketbooks. Tell us about it. All right. Yeah, there you go.
Brianne, are you here, Brianne? If y'all are wondering what's going on up here, Brandon has signed a copy of the poem that Dr. Dan wrote and presented it to Rena and Calvin Shearer. Unbelievable sponsors of Warriors Weekend. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Brianne, are you in the bar? Brianne? Anybody know where Brianne is? Betty, will you look in that bar and see if Brianne Douglas is in there? Here she comes. Brianne, come on up here. Hustle up. Hustle up. Let me tell y'all something. We have made a partnership with 5D Steakhouse, the Douglas family. They've been so wonderful to us. Brianne has been wonderful to us. We raised a ton of money over there. And so she's also going to get, where'd she go? No, I don't need her down there. Up here, I need her down there. Come on up here, Brianne. She and the family are going to get a signed, framed copy of that poem from Dr. Dan. So let's give a big hand to 5D Steakhouse. How wonderful they've been. Colonel Mike. Colonel Mike. All right. Thank you all very much. Now sit down.
All right. I know.
Brett.
Yeah, they're all over there. They're all over the snacks. All right.
All right, Brad, get the hell out of here so I can get on with this.
Sorry you can't have no water.
Bradley looking for his own.
We're living the poor kid's dream right now.
Bradley! Colonel's right here. Colonel's right here.
Totally get it. Been there, done that.
I know. Hey, you know, we can't do words. We can't do
I know.
You can't talk to a colonel like that, can you?
Like, what date? And she said, y'all had graduation. I said, oh, family's one.
All right, we're about to get the show on the road. Y'all bear with us. I know we're running along. I think you believe it's worth it. We've been waiting 3 years for this night, right? 3 years.
that was tough.
So bear with us, hang with us. You got nothing else to do tomorrow. All right, Slimbo.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Item number 1 on your auction list is the American flag Afghan on display right up here. It's a beautifully crocheted Afghan depicting U.S. flag, hand crocheted and donated by Tara Mayfield from Grenada, Texas.
All right, here we go. Right there. 200 now, 300 now, 400 now, 500 now, 600 6 now, 700 700 700 700 Roddy, you're in at 6 7 now 800 8 now 9 now 1,000 1,000 now 1,100 1100 now 12 1,200 1,200 1,200 1,300 13, anyone before I go, 1,300 sold at $1,200, number 435, 1,300. Rocky Thomas, thank you, give him a big round of applause, he started us off good.
Iconic Artist Collection number 2, a collection of 3 beautiful prints by the former Texas Outdoor Artist of the Year and great friend of Warriors Weekend, Sam Caldwell. Donated by the artist himself.
200 where? 200, 2 now, 3 now, 4, 400, 400, 4 now, 500, 500, 500 now, 6 now, 7, 700 now, 8, 800, 800, 800, 800, you're in, Rusty. 7 now, 800, 800, sold at $700 your way, Rusty. 410, 700. We need a name. We don't have 14 yet. Papa Go.
Here she comes.
That's Keith and Papa Gold.
That's how this fight's gonna be.
Papa Gold. Keith and Papa Gold. Oh, Keith and Paulette Gold. Is that correct? Okay. Here we go. Next up.
Number 3, Patriots Cup Fishing Tournament. You must be available to fish on September 30th in Fort O'Connor, Texas. The first captain is Tommy Ramirez, the Power of Purple. Tommy's a longtime friend and supporter of Warriors Weekend and can put you on the fish no matter the conditions. Let's go, Slim.
All right, here we go. Starting off 400, now 5, now 6, now 7, now 8, now 9. 9 now 1,000, now 1,100, 11 now 12, now 13, 1,300, 1,300, 2,000, now 2,100, 21, 2,100, 2,100, 2,100, sold at $2,000 your way, Rusty. 667. 667.
Do you have a
That
tab?
should be Bob Stanley.
469.
Bob Stanley.
469.
Bob Stanley.
Bob Stanley? Bob Stanley.
Doc, if you go to state.
Thank you. Okay, the next item's over here.
Here we go, number 4.
Pick up.
Number 4, an old-time fire pit and handmade bench by our heroes. A kettle fire pit made by combat wounded heroes Bo Jones and Bradley Gishner on an A-frame. Bo welded and put together this custom bench on horseshoes, assisted by Brad. Thank you, gentlemen. Here we go.
The bench and horseshoes right there, right? 300 now, 400 now, 4 back and back, now 500, put them at 500, 500, put them at 500, 5, now 600, put them at 6, now 700, put them at 700, 700, put them at 700, put them at 700, anyone before I go? 700, now 800, put them at 800, Monroe's in at 7, now 800, put them at 800, so it's $700, number 524, 524. Alicia Korzeka, thank you, is that right? Thank you. Next up.
Number 5, let's combo. Choose a combo for 6. Enjoy 3 nights and 2 full days of fishing aboard the Fearless, a 50-foot Viking. Included is lodging, meals, beverages, licenses, baits, and transportation from the airport. Donated by Bruce Woods. Airfare is not included. Here we go.
Back over there. Monroe, heavy bidder, hold her number up, 524. Yeah, the girls, y'all gotta keep an eye on them. Here we go.
Number 5, let's go.
Here we go on Bravo, right here. Tell me, 1,000 now, 1,100, 11 now 12, 13, 14, 1,500, 15, 16, 17, 18, 1,800, 18 now 19, now 2,000, 2,000 now 21, now 2, now 3, 23, now 4, 24, 2,400, 24 now 5, 2,500, 25, 2,600, 26, now 27, 27 now 8, 28, 28 now 9, 29, 2,900, 3,000, 3,100, now 32, 3,200, 32, 3,200, 32, 3,200, thank you for what you did, 3,200, 3,200, anyone 3,200, 32, now 3, 33, now 34, 34, 34, 35, 34, Monroe, you're out. 34, 34, 34, 34, the money's up front, 3,400. 34, now 5. 3,600, Monroe, 3,600. 36, 3,600. 3,600, 36, 36, now 7, 3,700. 37, 3,700. You're still out, Monroe, 3,700. 3,700. 3,700. Sold it, 3,600 your way. Number 408.
Todd Tullis, number 408.
Tom Tullis. Thank you, Tom Tullis.
All right, here we go. Number 6, salute to World War II.
Recording. I don't know if you want this, Scott.